Because teaching people how to implement an outside board is one of the most complex things that Aileron does, I thought it might be useful to have a way of describing it, talking about it, and thinking through the process so that everyone is on the same page and everyone is using the same language. The presentation I'd like to show you today is the meal we want to cook as well as eat. We all have a singular love of food. There's nothing that will match the hunger that we have except for a really fantastic meal. We know, moreover, what good food tastes like. We know what it looks like, we know what it tastes like, we know when we've had the best meals of our life. But we don't always know how to make it. We struggle sometimes with making those meals that are memorable and lasting, and we don't always have the right tools or the right directions. We don't know how much of something to use. We don't know the right order for things to be put in. We'd much rather somebody just do it for us and us enjoy the meal, but we know how much satisfaction there is in going through the process, especially because you could do that as often as you'd like. We just know that we want something delicious. We know that we want it to be to have a great presentation. We want it to be absolutely mouth-watering and to have that great savory finish. And I think this is exactly how our clients feel about outside boards. They know the outcome that they're looking for. They know that they want the success that they see. They know that they need greater insight from other people, but they don't know. They don't know where to get that. They don't have all of the resources that they need. And so, in order to give them those resources, we are going to have to decide how can we introduce outside boards as the solution, and lay out the steps in creating an outside board. How are we going to do that? Because they feel that same way, that they are lost. They know what the end result looks like, but they don't know what those steps in there is. So in short, what we have to do is teach them how to cook. Teach them how to make that outside board and teach them the process for cooking, for making it. We have to convince them that this is the right meal to cook. A client might ask, how good is a board? What value does it present? And we're convincing them of that value. We must show them how others have cooked it, how others have made this meal. What does it look like very concretely? What does a successful company that has implemented an outside board look like? Help them choose the right recipe and gather the right ingredients. What are the things that I need? What are those things that are going to help me to get the right people on my board and things like that? We want to give them the instruction or the directions and let them follow those directions. How am I going to make it is what the client is probably asking at that point. And we give them the feedback on the progress, as well as all of the advisors on the board would also give them the feedback that they need. So how can we do this better is what they would say. And we let them enjoy their meal and savor their success, because that, after all, is what they're buying. But what they're buying the success at the end of this. So how do we break it down and make it even more concrete for ourselves? We're teaching them how to cook, but there are 6 things that the client is going to say, and those are really the 6 steps, 6 recipes that we're going to be helping them to do, because that's going to help them create the entire meal. So in the process of creating an outside board, the client is going to say 6 things. They're going to say, I hunger. I hunger for that information, that insight. I hunger for the people that can help me intellectually and to brainstorm through these problems and to help me think about, what are the next things that I need to consider in my business. They're going to say, I see all of these other companies around that have an outside board and their successes. We have great success stories. They're going to see that. We're going to demonstrate that for them. And that's the other side of it, is that we are showing them. I prepare, and really I am prepared in order to create the outside board. I have all of the pieces in place. I have done all of the structural elements that I need. I have prepared. That's the next thing. And then I'm making the outside board. I make the success is going to be built on their ability to make these things. And then I listening to aileron, listening to their outside board, and really listening to the process itself. And that's when they're able to continue that make process and continue to listen. And then the last thing is they're savoring. I savor. And savoring that morsel of success that they've gotten at the very end of this. That is the last stage there. And we must teach them to make the meal. This is how we're going to do it, by going through the process, by showing them each stage, by having them actually use those words, that they're hungry, that they see. And then we're going to teach them how to make the meal so that they can make it and keep on making it, that outside board, as often as they would like.